Hey everyone, it's Brian here from Massey's Main Entertainment, and we're back again this week. We're all the way up to 1997 and building our perfect album. Just cranking out these years. We're almost to the tail end of our journey here, and 97 is one of those pinnacle years that had a lot of really important albums. Maybe not so much as for singles necessarily, but the albums were important. And joining me today is Rich Strickler from his own channel, and I'm going to post that link down below. And Doc, thank you for joining me. I really
Hey guys.
appreciate it. So we're here on 1997. Just to let you guys know what we're doing, we're building a perfect album, top 12 songs from each year, and then we also do a tandem video where we count down the top 10 movies from the same year, and that'll be posted over on Rich's channel, and I'll put the link for that down below. We started movies in 1980 and ran them in conjunction with the Building the Perfect Album series from that point forward. But you can go all the way back to the Building the Perfect Album, all the way back to 1965 if you would like. And we have Spotify links for all of those playlists if you want to play those as well. So I encourage you to go back and look at the older videos, play the Spotify playlist if you would like, and just check it all out. Please like, sub, and comment. Please leave your top 12 as well. I think it's really cool when people do that. So, like I said, 1997 for me, a lot of big albums. Not so much on the charts, the Billboard charts. I thought were almost completely garbage. So I rarely even went to those for as a reference point. So, and that's really kind of how the 90s was going to end a little bit, I felt like. So, what did you guys think of 97?
I didn't quite have the same harsh view that you did on the hits versus the album side of things. I thought there was some pretty good standout hits actually that came out in '97. Some that I still enjoy now. Like you said, yeah, there's some pretty solid albums, and off the top, I got some are pretty close to me still. So, but I don't mind the hits and stuff that did pop out of here that I think are actually still sticking with me at this time too. So I find a little bit more maybe in my rockish neighborhood. I can still get by pretty good with a couple of these hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a hodgepodge of familiar artists that I always seem to highlight on my list. A couple new ones. One live song that appeared in '97 from an earlier album that I like. And one Christmas song actually too made it, and one single that was on one of your or both your guys, I think, '96 album that carried over in early January and was a hit. So that's where I'm at. It's not the worst year that we've done, but it's not the best either.
Well, so what we're gonna do is we'll start it off here. I'm gonna go first tonight since I went last week, and Doc, you're gonna be following me up, and Rich, you get to go last on both the movies and the music. So I know that's a big thrill of yours. So we'll just we'll jump right in here. So what I did here, I mean, I my list, guys, is just about as diverse as there was, and I know we always like kind of joke about how many matches we think we're gonna have. And we all agreed, like right out of the gate, we didn't think we were going to have any matches. So I'm leading off my album with a song by Johnny Lang, his debut album that he had. It's the title track from his album Lie to Me. Anybody doesn't know Johnny Lang, just at the time, he was a 16-year-old kid, plays blues guitar, just an absolute protege. Eric Clapton saw him play and ended up adding him to, headlining, not headlining, but actually opening up for some of his concerts and stuff. And that kid can wail on a guitar. So I picked the Lie to Me soundtrack, just an absolute great blues guitar, great drumming, great bass line. Everything's just really great about the song. So my second track I picked is from The Color and the Shape by from the Foo Fighters. This is probably considered like their big album as far as sales and popularity go. When you look at it, I don't think it's not my favorite album of theirs, but it's definitely one that's high up on the popularity list. I picked Everlong. I think it's a great rocking tune. It's one of those wonderful songs you can play when you're driving in your car. Really brings a lot of energy to you. I fully like Foo Fighters when it's like a real band and what wasn't just David Grohl doing his own little thing all by himself and calling it the Foo Fighters. And Color and the Shape's great album, solid all the way through. And this is the track that I picked. The third track I picked was from Bob Dylan, My Boy's Back, Time Out of Mind. I picked Not Dark Yet. This song was originally came to my mind when I was watching a movie called Henry Poole is Here. It's a little known movie with Luke Wilson, and where he thinks he's dying, and it's one of the tracks that was played on there. And I went to find out what it was, and downloaded this whole album on Spotify and listened to it. And I think Bob was like this could have been a great comeback album for him for sure. I mean, it's just great stuff on here. Cold Irons Bound is on here, but this No Dark Yet is a really great song, and I really enjoyed it. Wanted to put it on here. Fourth song I have is from The Verve. It's called Lucky Man. It's not their most popular song. They had another popular song, Bittersweet Symphony. They were actually sued over the use of a musical track that was crazily similar to a Rolling Stones early track, and ended up getting sued, but not by the Rolling Stones, but by the record company representing the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger actually felt so bad about it that he actually paid whatever royalties that they had to pay to the record company. It actually came out of Mick's pocket. It wasn't his intent to make another band hurt like that. So, but I picked Lucky Man, really great tune. Enjoyed it very much. The fifth track I have is from Third Eye Blind, and it's not one of the tracks that most people would probably pick. I picked God of Wine. It's like the bookend track for the tail end of the album. It has multiple meanings that most people are associating with it. A lot of it's talking about drinking and driving and addiction and things like that. But he said it was mostly about the universe as a broader scale, and how all these things at the same time are moving really fast in the universe and crumbling all at the same time. So he was very talking about a very deep subject, entropy in the universe and things like that. But I really love the song, so I put it on here. And my last track that I picked was from Radiohead, from OK Computer, probably one of my top 3 albums of all time. I picked Exit Music for a Film. This was commissioned by Baz Luhrmann, who was filming his version of Will Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. And he asked Tom York to put a song together with Radiohead for the soundtrack. And so he gave Tom an advanced copy of it. And about the time that Tom was watching the end of the movie and Claire Danes puts the gun to her head to get ready to pull the trigger, that's when Tom said he started writing the song, and it just came out naturally from there. So he made the song actually appears on the soundtrack in the movie, but doesn't appear on the actual movie soundtrack, the CD or album. The Radiohead wanted to hold off and put that on OK Computer. They just wanted to make sure that they would have most of the selling rights on that one. So that's my side one.
Very good.
Very cool.
Almost like a side 2.
Almost like a side 2.
Almost like a side 2 for me. Yeah, it's really diverse.
You had the Foo Fighters in there. You had the Verve. You had the Radiohead. You had 97, man. And it goes back to something you mentioned before we actually hit record. Yeah, you're right. We're going to be hanging around things there, buddy. So
yeah.
90 or Johnny Lang is a good call. Kid was 16, phenom. I actually listened to a few of those songs that were recommended to me for this year. I ended up not taking them, but they're excellent. The guy, to imagine him at 16, right out of the gate, playing that kind of music, I was impressed. And of course, the Bob Dylan song is wonderful. And you may hear that later from me.
Thanks. I was happy with it. So now we go on to my side 2. So you can imagine this extending this out a little bit further. My first track leading off side 2, I've got Victory from P. Diddy. I imagine we'll call him P. Diddy. He was Puff Daddy at the time. Victory was kind of featuring all these various artists and everything. It's what I really liked about the track is it has they use the music from Bill Conti's Going the Distance from Rocky as the whole underlying musical track. And it's fantastic the way they've got it going. And it gets you just as pumped up as a Rocky movie would get. You just want to get out there in the streets and start running up and down steps and, fake punching and chasing,
get right into it,
chasing chickens in back alleys and stuff like that. I don't know, whatever it takes. So I put Victory on here, and I followed it up with another hip hop song, my favorite, by the Notorious B.I.G., which is odd because it doesn't appear on his greatest hits. I've got Going Back to Cali, really great thumping tune that uses a sample from Roger Troutman from Zapp. His first album had a song called "More Bounce to the Ounce." So they use a sample from that song, and I wanted to include that on here. We lost the Big too soon. Number 3 on this side. This is where it even gets even odder. I picked the Prodigy from the Fat of the Land. I picked Diesel Power, which is kind of a electro punk, pseudo punk dance kind of song. It's weird. They had a song called Firestarter that was very energetic song that had this really crazy video with
messed up video, man.
Spiked hair out to the sides, and it just absolute crazy. Looked like a dude was on cocaine, is smashing it up. But it was not my favorite song on the album, so I picked Diesel Power. I really like this one better. Next song I picked was number 4 was from Ween from their album The Mollusk. Very odd conceptual album that has nautical themes to the tracks. It's neo psychedelic meets art pop meets avant-garde pop. It's all very strange music, but some of the tracks are just really cool and very catchy. I picked the song "It's Gonna Be All Right." Probably my favorite track on there, mostly because I like neo psychedelic rock, and wanted to include this on here. My 5th song is from Elliott Smith, from Either Or, and also from the Good Will Hunting soundtrack called Between the Bars. He featured a lot of songs actually on Good Will Hunting, and this was my favorite one off of there. A lot of his songs, very melancholy, have to do a lot with drinking and being alone and sullen, behavior. But this was absolute smash of an album, and this is my favorite song from there. And I couldn't think of a better song to end my album than from Green Day's Nimrod. I picked "Good Riddance," Time of Your Life. Actually, was featured in the Seinfeld finale. What a great song, very catchy, and nothing like they had done, prior to. What I liked about it too was at the beginning of the song when they start playing the guitar, they play like the first 2 chords, and then he goes "fuck," because he genuinely messed up. Then he started trying to play it again. I thought that was like really cool that they kept that in there. Had a great authenticity to it. So I couldn't think of a better song to end the album for 97 than to have "Good Riddance."
Great tune too.
Awesome. I like that song. Yeah. Not surprised you had Notorious B.I.G. or Diddy on there. They're right up in your wheelhouse. And I don't know anything. I have to confess, I don't know anything about Ween. I've heard the name, never listened to it. And same for Elliott Smith. I know he's probably somebody I'd like because I'm a singer-songwriter guy, but I just haven't delved into his music yet. So that's on my bucket list to do for sure. Elliott Smith.
Yeah, that's 97, brother. That's what I can tell you. That's a 97. You're going to cover up more of 97 than I think me and Rich probably will in one sense too. So, but we'll cover off the spots that you might have just missed on the outside there. But we'll stay more in the lane, I think. So.
Plug the holes, guys. Plug the holes.
Oh, good luck.
Really, eh?
All right, Doc.
97. I think you're gonna get the feeling of where I am with my 90s and stuff like this. So, Collective Soul has an album out. I got Precious Declaration from Collective Soul starting off my album in 97.
Yeah.
Look, if you don't know Collective Soul, it's a heavy riff, guitar-driven band. That's what they are. There's thoughts of religious undertones and everything else. And yeah, their dad was a minister. These guys are not singing about religion in one sense, ever, to be honest with you. It's rebellious about companies and contracts and screwed over. This album's really good, man. Really good tunes on this one. Blame is a really good song on this album as well. So is Listen. But Precious Declaration, heavy, great guitar riff. They always have that little bit of a grungy sound, but they're a rock band. That's what they are, and that's going to start off my 97. I got the Foo Fighters coming in right behind it, Brian, so you'll be happy to know. It was between 2 songs, and I did not go with Everlong. I apologize. The one that always got me right into more of where I was going to start sticking around with the Foo Fighters was Monkey Wrench. So, and that's where I went, man. So, Monkey Wrench is my number 2. Still got that sound of like grungy guitar from, let's say, early 90s sound. but it's a rock song again, right? So this fits my wheelhouse really good, right? You know, I get my guitars, I love my guitar riffs, my guitar heavy songs, strong basses, drum beats. I'm a rock guy, man. This is a rock song for me in '97. And
Yep.
I like where the Foo Fighters go. Uh, I think they're one of the biggest bands in the last 20, 30 years for a reason, man. These guys are a pretty solid rock band, and we don't have too much to say about rock bands for that long over the last little while. So I got the Oath from Big Wreck coming in right behind it. This is a Canadian band. This is their debut album.
Mm-hmm.
This is a band that nobody really knows about. I'm going to say South again. It's stock. I'm Canadian. What do you want? A lot of airplay, a lot of play. I think even south of, if you're on the North States, you would have heard this song a lot. This guy, Ian Thornberry, can really wail on guitar. This guy's a Berkeley student, man. The band's Berkeley. These guys are all musicians. Still going now. I would say it's grungiest rock. The guy's voice, he sounds like Chris Cornell, man. I can't get around that. He's got a voice that sounds like Chris Cornell. And there's some really good songs off this album, but The Oath is what I'm going with right out of the gate. But that song or Blown Wide Open, this album has a few really good tracks on it, but I'm rocking on this side, and this is a pretty good rock song to me, man. Really cool sound effects on the guitar he does with the whammies, man, and his pedals for sure. It's awesome, the sound. Nice to these guys make an appearance again for me, I'll say this, because I like this tune, and I'm happy it sounds like they did in the old days to me, but I've got INXS, Elegantly Wasted, coming in at number 4. And it's exactly what I said. This sounds like old INXS. This is INXS hasn't sounded like this for a long time now, if you want, years, until we got to this. Not much else really stands out on this album, to be honest with you. But this song sounds like old INXS. Hutchinson's a really good frontman, man. He's got a great voice.
Yeah.
Doesn't maybe get talked about enough, man. He's talk singing the way he goes, you know, look at all that shit. And the way he gets right into it, and then gets right into the chorus. The backup singing, everything else. Definitely an INXS tune. Definitely a 97 INXS tune. And it sounds really good. You know the way I did things, Brian, you know, yeah, you had Good Riddance. And I had Good Riddance right up until like an hour ago on the B side of my album, and then I switched it out because it's a great song. There's something about that groove on Hitching a Ride, man, that from Green Day. That's where I went. That was my number 5. The heaviest Stray Cat song you'll ever hear. That's the way I would put it. That's my little note beside it, man. That dun, 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 that bass line is just contagious as hell. The drums are fantastic in this tune. Yeah, it's got a 50-ish kind of vibe to it with that drum beat and dun, 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 dun. It sounds, I'm going to say it right. I'm saying it right, man. It's the heaviest Stray Cat song you'll ever hear. And it's got that punky-ish vibe to it when it gets into the chorus, man. Really cool tune. If I'm taking 1 or 2 off those, I'd have no problem putting Good Riddance on my album here either, Brian. So I think that was an excellent choice as well. Here's the one-hit wonder that does stand out to me, man. I still love this tune, man. Flagpole Sitta from Harvey Danger is going to end out my side.
Right.
I could sing this whole song for you right now, man. I know that one still. So it's especially that chorus, really catchy, and even a little dive on it. You know how it's just a shot to, you know, we can do something a little grungy-ish here in the late '90s. As a shot towards the grunge Seattle scene from the early 90s. So really cool, catchy tune, man. There's no getting around it, man. It's a one-hit wonder, but it's a catchy one-hit wonder, especially that chorus is, you know, I'm not sick, I'm not well. You know, you just get right into it. It's a great tune, man. I'm going to end my side A in 97 with that tune.
Nice. Yeah, that is a one-hit wonder. I remember it on the Faculty soundtrack. I think it was on that soundtrack or something. I actually thought about having Hashinka from Green Day as well.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about the drums. The drums are great in that too. But yeah, I couldn't pass up Good Riddance. But Monkey Wrench, I can't argue with. I knew Precious Declaration. That was high on your Collective Soul list.
There was
when we did it together. So that doesn't surprise me. So good list.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I like how we're all staying in our lanes. Brian with his diversity in the rap, and Doc with the rock, and me with whatever I'm going to come up with. We're staying in our lane. I'm so grateful. You guys work hard and figure out what I'm going to come up with. But anyway, that's very cool. I know you're a Collective Soul guy, and no doubt you're going to be representing that band.
Oh yeah, for sure. I got one more near 99. You'll hear them again. Just be which one I get. But
Yeah.
on this side, I don't know. Maybe I think I'm staying in my lane, but maybe a couple of curves here. So see how it goes on side B. I'm toning it down a little. I'll tell you that on side B. So, but still stay with my rock heritage, I think. So I got "Don't Go Away" by Oasis to start my side B.
Mm-hmm.
Probably a top fiber tune for me from Oasis. Doesn't get talked about, what's the story, Morning Glory and their debut and everything else. This kind of gets lost somewhere out there somewhere. This tune's really well written. It's really Noel and Liam. Noel for Liam is what this is, losing somebody that you've had your whole life. And he's talking about his brother. So we all know how that ended up. But, at the time, I'm sure he had different thoughts because he wrote this song. So it's a really touching song. It's acoustic driven, but it's got really cool, I don't know, sliding guitars and stuff like that when it gets into like the chorus and stuff like that. These guys are really talented, man. And it definitely has that Beatlesque kind of feeling to this tune as well, man. And kind of what Oasis brings to the table sometimes, man. When they do it really well. Didn't know this was going to make an appearance, but I do like the song a lot. So I got U2 Staring at the Sun coming in at number 2.
Okay.
Now, I would say that this song, this is a pop, right? And we've already gone through the other Zoo and everything else that they've gone through, and we're not in the Joshua Tree or Actung Baby neighborhood. But this song kind of gives me that feeling that we are in that Actung neighborhood, I'd say, at least. Sounds like it could have came from that album in one sense to me. And just a toned down, more of a rock ballad.
That was on Pop, right?
Yeah.
That's on Pop, yeah. It does get talked about and it doesn't get talked about, and maybe we haven't touched on it enough. Bono's got a fantastic voice, man.
Yep.
And yeah, I just I don't get how things get overlooked like that sometimes, even when you sometimes just take it for granted because they've been here for 30 or 40 years. And these guys can sing, man. Most of these guys or girls can sing. Or if they're not in the biz, man. Now, this is an acquired taste on number 3, I'll tell you this, but I like this tune. Anybody See My Baby from the Rolling Stones is coming in at number 3. Now, this is just a groovy Stones tune in the 90s, man. This has a fantastic groove, great vibe, great bass line to it. Almost a different sounding kind of. This one sounds like the Stones have adapted to the 90s, if you ask me. Somebody that came out of the 60s, went through the 70s, popping them out, floated through the 80s in a lot of senses, especially in the late side. Here they've adapted to the 90s, and I say it sounds like something like that, but it's got like an earlier vibe to it. Again, where it's, if I get that feeling from the band that I've grown up to love, Stones are in that ballpark. Anybody See My Baby's got that soothy, sexy kind of feel, groovy lines. It's the Stones, man. 97. I love this tune. This album's not bad, actually. Number 4. You've heard me mention these guys before. So it's Our Lady Peace, another Canadian band. The tune's clumsy. Like I said before, if these guys were in Seattle in the 90s, these guys would have been huge. That's all I can say. They've covered the whole grunge area. Like I said, very unique voice. But musically, they're really solid. They got catchy tunes, catchy rock songs that cover a lot of the bases that fit my wheelhouse as a rock guy. And I think they would fit a lot of people's. If you just give it a listen, Clumsy is a great tune. There's a couple of really good. Superman's Dead is on this album as well. It's a really good song. I said, unique voice, but he almost talks things, throw away the radio, and then you get into the tune, and the chorus is really solid too. So That's my number 4, 97 for the good old Canadian boy here. I'll tell you that. So this one you probably didn't see coming. So I got Robbie Williams, Let Me Entertain You at number 5.
That's
Yeah.
that's a shift.
Didn't see that coming, did you? Huh? What can I tell you, man? I watched a video of this guy from years ago, 20, 25 years ago. I watched a video, maybe 20 years ago. I watched a video of him in concert one night or whatever. And it just kept me up all night. And I thought, geez, man, this guy's a great entertainer and stuff like this. And start getting into the tune, start listening to the song. Angels came out this year, which was a big song for him as well. Not a massive guy here in the North American side of things, but I think in Britain, this guy's massive, man. I think this guy is a monster over there. Let Me Entertain You. Really catchy poppy rock song, man. That's what I would call it. Great piano. He's got a great outro. He's got a great voice. So he's had a hook in there that I've always liked, and it's going to make my album in 97 for that one reason, man. Like I said, Angels was a massive song, man. I'm sure we all know that song if you heard it.
Yeah.
Sure. Man, what song did you have from the Verb again?
I had Lucky Man.
Great tune. I got Bittersweet ending my album, buddy.
Yeah. That's their bigger song.
And I wasn't a fan of it when it first came out either. Lucky Man's a great tune. It's a great song. Bittersweet, I wasn't even a big fan of it because I kind of got irked in one sense because it kind of reminded me of like the Water Boys and stuff like that at one time. Like, especially at that time when it came out, I thought, well, you guys aren't taking my place with the Water Boys. You guys aren't coming kind of my grass because I'm a big Water Boys guy. So get out of here. But over time, yeah, you're right about the suing and all that kind of stuff that you mentioned on this song and stuff like this. The song's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's got great, great string arrangement. It's got great horror. It's got this musically is really, really well done. Song's still catchy, still holds up today. Like I said, Lucky Man's a great tune, man. I think Bittersweet's maybe the song of the year, that one for me. So I'm gonna end my year that one.
Nice. Our Lady Peace. That's not a surprise. The Robbie Williams one. That's a real surprise. I don't understand. That one's the one that throws me off in that whole side there. But
Yep.
You got to do.
Hey, that's Doc in 97, man.
I'm surprised we had 3 similar artists, different songs, but 3 of our 12, at least we have the same artist, Doc and I, and Brian and I actually have 2 hits, 2 actual dead-on songs.
Get out.
Didn't see that one coming at all.
Wow.
Really surprised.
I thought that last song that I said, now that I know this, Rich, I thought the last song, Bittersweet Symphony, might be the one that I hit on with you, to be honest with you.
No, I didn't have it, unfortunately. No, I probably could have used it because I have a couple of tunes on here that I threw in as filler because I wasn't.
Well, no pressure, Rich. You can make the change right now, buddy. Go for it. No one will know.
Let me jump in here and see what I got. My side A is typical of the stuff I like, and B is kind of hit and miss stuff. So we're going to kick it off. Side A, I've got John Fogerty's Hot Rod Heart off his Blue Moon Swamp album. This is roots rock, a great Fogerty song, reminiscent of CCR, and it kicks off this album with a really rousing start. I love it. It's one of my favorite solo Fogerty songs, Hot Rod Heart. Next up, Fleetwood Mac put out The Dance, which was a live album, and I took Silver Springs because it was left off of Rumors, and I love the song. It was a B-side on a single, but it was left off Rumors, and they do it live here with Stevie sort of singing right next to Lindsay, and it's one of these bitter kind of songs. They were in a relationship. It's 20 years later, and just the vibe on stage that between the two of them is palpable. And it's a classic lineup of Stevie, Lindsay, Christine, John, and Mick at this time. A great song. Silver Springs is my second tune. My third track is from Van Morrison. I always seem to have some Van on here. Sometimes We Cry is the name of the song. It's from The Healing Game, which is his 26th album, and that was 25 years ago. This man's still going strong. I think we take Van for granted. He's an all-time great in my book. So prolific, so many albums, well over 40. One of the best singer-songwriters, very consistent. And anytime I get a chance, I'm going to put him on an album. A lot like Doc with Collective Soul. I feel that strongly about him. My fourth track is from Paul McCartney off of Flaming Pie, Calico Skies. It's a beautiful little love song, acoustic, short, sweet, simple, written about his wife, Linda, who unfortunately would pass away the next year in 1998 at the age of 56. So there's a lot of poignant stuff here for Paul. I think he may have known the end was coming. I'm not sure. Here's a hit that Doc and I had, Staring at the Sun, U2, off the Pop album.
Wow.
I agree.
Fantastic.
Really good song. You mentioned it. I wrote it down. Toned down rock ballad. That's exactly what it is. It's my favorite song off this album. I wasn't a huge U2 fan in the 90s, but this song works for me. It's got that signature edge guitar song, solo little tweaking away, and then Bono's voice, great lyrics. It's going to make my album. And then the closing track on side A, Bob Dylan, Not Dark Yet, off of Time Out of Mind, which is a nice album. I love this song. It's about approaching the twilight of one's life. It actually appeared, you mentioned the movie, it appeared on, but it also appears in Wonder Boys, which came out in the year 2000 with Michael Douglas, right, Tobey Maguire, and they used that in the soundtrack as well. And I just want to read off some of these lyrics to show that Dylan hasn't lost his touch. Shadows are falling, and I've been here all day. It's too hot to sleep. Time is running away. Feel like my soul has turned into steel. I still got the scars that the sun didn't heal. There's not even room enough to be anywhere. It's not dark yet, but it's getting there. Just a great song. Love it. And one of my favorite Dylan tunes, even though it's considered later in his career. So that'll end my side A.
That's perfect. Yeah, I thought about taking something from the dance, but I wasn't sure whether you guys would consider that cheating, taking something from a live album. So I said, I'll steer away from it.
I consider it cheating. That's why I did it, because I wanted to. I have no scruple.
You're right about Morrison, though. Holy, you look at his discography on Wikipedia, it's just massive. Like, he just doesn't stop. He's a machine.
Yeah, he
oh yeah.
Him and Dylan both. They're both around the same age. Bob's a little bit older, 4 years older, but they keep cranking out albums, and their fans love it. I mean, I know it's not popular anymore to like those guys, but if you're a fan and you want to have you have that completist mentality, they're still giving you good material, I think. Same with Springsteen. Yeah. So anyway, let's go on to side B. I opened this side B up with One Headlight. You guys had it, I think, in 96 from the Wallflowers. Yeah. It came out in January of 97 as a single. Of course, Jacob Dylan's band. Winner of 2 Grammy Awards. So I wanted to get that on here because I was running short of songs I liked. Then I had the hit from Third Eye Blind, Semi-Charmed Life, alternative, power pop, radio friendly, accessible music off their debut album. There's lots of do, all that stuff that goes with it. Real sunshine pop for 97. The lyrics contain some connotations about crystal meth, from what I understand. Third track, I'm on the Rolling Stones bandwagon with you, Doc, off Bridges of Babylon. I took Out of Control as the song on that album. I really like it.
It too.
I couldn't find a lot of real rock to represent this year, but that Rolling Stones album is not bad, so I went with it.
Yeah.
I like the song you picked. It's kind of an underrated album, in my opinion. So went with that. Now here's where we get a little thin. My fourth track is Jackson Browne, previously unreleased. It appears on his Greatest Hits, which came out in this year, but he never released it before. It's a little dark Christmas song called The Rebel Jesus. Not really a fan of it, but anytime Jackson Browne's releasing something and I'm stuck, I'm going to pick a song. That's the only reason I'm being honest.
Gonna say, you'd find a Jackson Brown song even if he didn't release it that year.
Probably true.
If they bring him back, if they brought him back in a hologram,
Right.
Rich would take him.
So you can put him down for 2 sheets in 1 year. My fifth track on this side is from Sarah McLachlan, part of that Lilith Fair movement with the women and female empowerment. She's Canadian, Doc, singer-songwriter. The song is Angel, real sparse arrangement, written about musicians who get caught up in heroin, dying. She was quoted as saying, it's about trying not to take responsibility for other people's problems and trying to live yourself in a better light. So I don't know. I like the song. It appears on some of these commercials you see for the dogs in the cages and mistreated animals. real sparse stuff. And believe it or not, I'm ending my album with the same song Brian did. Good Riddance, The Time of Your Life from Green Day. But this was a perfect ending. I love this song, and I'm not a Green Day fan. They did 2 versions. They did the acoustic, and they did a more up-tempo rock version. I like the acoustic version. That's just my nature. Maybe my favorite Green Day song of all of them off Nimrod. So that's how I'm ending it. I think it's perfect for 97 as well.
Very nice.
I feel bad that I took it off there at the last minute.
We would have had one. We would have had one.
Yeah.
So that's what you get, Doc, messing around.
We had staring at the sun, Doc. We had staring at the sun.
We did.
What was the name of that Rolling Stones song again? I've been writing down songs I got to listen to, and you guys got a lot of them this time. So
I had Out of Control, and Doc had what? Anybody see My Baby? Is that what it's
anybody seen
My Baby?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Bridges of Babylon.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the album.
Yeah, I don't think I've even listened to it yet. So
They're not bad. They're good songs.
Yeah.
Bridges to Babylon. Sorry.
Yeah, Bridges to Babylon. Yeah.
Any
Yeah. I was gonna say, Brian, we both had a Foo Fighters. We just missed. We both had the Verve. We just had different songs.
We had a Dylan, same song, Brian and I, and
we had Dylan. We
That's right.
Yeah, and we had. Well, I consider one headlight would be a carryover. Right?
A carryover.
Yeah, we all had it.
We all had it.
We did.
Just hey,
we did.
The argument can be made. It was on the album and it charted as a single as well in a different year.
Our only hope now is Good Riddance actually came out as a single in '98, and I have it on my album. That way we can do it
again. That's funny.
Doc starts looking. When did Seinfeld get done? I can use it that year too.
I can use it that year for sure. Re-released.
Yeah.
Well, any honorable mentions you guys want to throw out there, or
not really? I had the Johnny Lang songs that you picked up on. Randy gave me those. I really like that style of music, and for 16 years old, man, awesome. I don't have anything else, Doc.
I'd mentioned before, not really. I'm going to say, not really. Song 2 from Blur. I had that written down.
Yeah, I had that consideration. Of course, I had, like I said, I had Hashinka down. I had the other 2 songs by, Third Eye Blind down there for a little while.
Yeah.
Bittersweet Symphony. I would have had the entire dance album down as an honorable mention if I would have been able to do that.
I was exploring.
That was a great concert. I mean, that was just absolute great concert. So
I was exploring going into the country vibe a little bit. I was listening to Dwight Yoakam's album of covers, and he's got some pretty good ones on there, but I couldn't justify them. But I thought they were all pretty good.
Well, anyway, then that'll wrap it up for 1997. Be sure to check that out. Also, make sure you check out the tandem video over on Rich's channel. I'll have a link for that down below. That'll be our top 10 movies for 1997. It'll be released on the same day. Check out our Spotify list. Check out all our other videos from 1965 all the way up through 1997, of course. And thank you, Rich, for joining us this evening. Thanks to Doc. And guys, we're winding this down. Only a couple more years to go here. So we'll see you in 1998. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Later.
Peace out.